Hey y'all, I know it hasn't been a very long time since my last update, but as I'm sure you're all aware, a lot has happened in the last few months. I'll start with the elephant in the room. I launched a Patreon page at the end of March with a special promotion that ended on the 26th of May. I let the day pass by with no fanfare, because when I decided to launch the page, I was in a really bad place. My hours had just been cut in half, and I was desperate for any way to slow down the hemorrhaging of my savings account. I'm not proud of the way I reacted, but I also know it's not reasonable to beat myself up over something I can't change now. I didn't delete my Patreon page because I do want to leave the door open for those who want to support me financially, but please understand, I don't expect anything from anyone. Please make sure your needs are met before you worry about me. I have made some changes to the tiers. $3 will now get you Discord access as well as poll access, and $6 will get you early access to videos. I don't have a third tier anymore because I would rather let my supporters tell me what they want instead of trying to guess. I also want to add a sort of senior patron recognition program for patrons who stay with me for a long time, but since Patreon doesn't really allow me to set that up through their site, it'll have to be something I keep track of personally. If I end up with patrons who pledge for 6 months or more, if it happens, I'll ask those patrons how they'd like to be recognized for their support, and we'll just go from there, because ultimately I'm trying to make my Patreon page more focused on the patrons and less focused on whatever Patreon says is the best way to make money. And at this point, I'm sure some of you are wondering why I'm asking for money from fans instead of cashing in on that sweet ad revenue, and the reason is simple. I have not and will not ever join YouTube's AdSense program. Please understand, I have nothing but the utmost respect for creators who have chosen to monetize their videos through YouTube. That is their choice to make. It is their channel. They run it how they will. However, I have watched YouTube prove time and time again that they really don't give a damn about their individual creators. Videos have been randomly demonetized for no apparent reason. Channels have received strikes that they weren't expecting, and some people have lost their channels entirely out of the blue. YouTube is probably the most careless employer I've ever encountered. And if anybody was about to suggest just leaving YouTube for another platform, I would if that was a viable option. Twitch is YouTube's closest competitor, but aside from catering to a completely different style of content than what I usually make, Twitch's audience is barely a fraction of YouTube's. I've done the research. I know the risks. I'm going to use YouTube to build my audience, but I really, personally do not trust them as a source of income. Now that I've gotten all of that heavy stuff out of the way, let's talk about my KOTOR 2 Let's Play. I started uploading every other day as a special during the pandemic, but it's quickly becoming obvious to me that this is not something I can keep up forever. I plan on returning to school either in the fall or the spring, which will drastically reduce the amount of time I have to devote to the channel. The best I can do to cope with that is record a big buffer this summer, and in order to do that, I'm going to have to put recording more episodes of KOTOR 2 on the back burner. I'll hopefully be able to maintain weekly updates, but I'm not going to stress myself out if I miss a week here and there. The best way to keep up with me and what I'm working on during all of this madness is just to follow me on Twitter, since I'm usually on at least a couple times a day. I at least will be on when I first wake up in the morning. I try to spend an hour just catching up, keeping up with everybody, just so that y'all have a way of reaching me. To finish up, I just want to say that I really appreciate you guys. I know I don't play the newest or the most popular games on the market, but as of this recording, I have 11 whole subscribers, and that's honestly more than I thought I'd get in my first year. Thank you so much for your support, and I hope you're all staying safe in this scary time. I love y'all.